how our gut health directly relates to our mental and emotional well-being, and vice versa. So I've done a podcast episode on that last year sometime. Go and check it out. You will find the link in the description below to chat a little more in depth around that. But this little chat is inspired by recent clients and past patients or clients and so forth. After going full circle, I've recently been running a webinar. I'm running 3 monthly webinars every month. Get around that. The last one was on Ayurveda and adrenal fatigue. The one before was on living in sync with Ayurveda. The next one will be on, need to look it up. However, so many people experience things like adrenal fatigue and so forth, or what other issues it might be, you name it. And I've had quite a few clients or people, we all have a rough idea of what's going on with us. And so people who come to me and say, oh, this is what's wrong with me, it's just my adrenals. So I just need to focus on, and we often kind of start to use an issue almost as an excuse. It's like, oh, I can't do that because I'm fatigued, or because I'm fatigued, this doesn't work, and this doesn't work, and this doesn't work. Because I have this issue, I can't do that. Because I have this issue, this is suffering too. And we got to be really careful, and I hope no one takes this offensively, to not buy into our stories too much until we become a victim of our own story. That's a difference in acknowledging what is going on for you versus really getting dragged down by what is going on for you and making that your new normal story, and not even being willing anymore eventually to change out of that, be that consciously or unconsciously. So that's something we need to naturally discern for ourselves. But what I see a lot is that people, and this is where I see a bit of a problem with, how we diagnose in Western medicine. And again, as a disclaimer, this is generalized what I say here, and there is definitely there's a place for Western medicine. You would have heard me say that before as well. I don't mean to put a downer on that. But according to Ayurveda, there's 6 stages of disease. Stage 1 is feeling occasionally cloudy in your head, feeling a little bit too hot, a little bit too cold, a little bit constipated, a little bit loose stools, a little bit of smelly gas, maybe a little bit dizzy, maybe, all those like little things that we very often in our Western mindset are like, oh, that feels a bit weird. Anyways, just get on with it. And we don't acknowledge it. This is the first stage of disease. Western medicine, no one would look at you. People would be, it's normal, you haven't drank water that day or something. And of course, there's reasons that impact us, but that's just not where Western medicine is coming in tangibly yet. So then those symptoms accumulate, get stronger, stronger, stronger. Then they spread. That's where they, flow through our body and find a new home site, the site of where we have weakness due to our genetics, our conditioning, who we are, and so forth. That's where it will settle in. From there, it will expand too. And by then, we are in stage 4. And if we're not detecting anything yet, then it's branching into stage 5, where it's really nesting in and really getting stronger. And now we go to the doctor, and now the doctor does testing and diagnosis, and it's like, wow, actually, sorry, ma'am, you have adrenal fatigue, you have IBS, you have depression, you have whatever it is. And out of the sudden, it often can lead us to think, oh my God, I have this issue now. I am this issue now. But also to believe that, this just started in my body, and that's simply not the case. My point with that is, everything has a root cause that started way earlier on a way more subtle level, and often somewhere completely different to where we perceived it. Nothing happens overnight. And so when we look at things Ayurvedically, so for example, if people come to me and be like, oh yeah, I know my gut health is not good, but I got adrenal fatigue now, or I got depression now, so that's what I need to focus on. It's like, no, everything works vice versa. And actually the first stage of disease first it gets rolling because something is off in our gut. And that can be it's our gut health in general, and that can be impacted in different ways. It can be through you know, the food we eat, and actually whatever we put into our gob that's not right, or the combinations of food that are not right, or the times on which we eat are not right. Anything to do with food can create imbalance and then armor or toxins in our gut and our system. But it can also be energetic, mental, emotional toxins through, say, being in a toxic relationship, working in a toxic environment, having heated arguments, like blowing off at people in traffic every day. You know, things like that, anything that's creating dissonance and like any kind of negative emotions, anger, frustration, anxiety, tension, stress, grief, nervousness. If we don't deal with those emotions in the first place with that energy and reset and take care of our energetic state again and again, it's a constant process because life constantly changes, right? Then it will settle in, lead to suppression. And the first thing it will settle in is kind of from the bottom up, you know, like when we look at our chakra system, starting with the root chakra, only if the root is, if all the needs are met, like all our basic human needs, then we have time to focus on our pleasure and our creativity, expand that creative energy, which is our solar plexus. Then we have time to create the container to really foster a sense of self, and then open, you know, it's not just chronological, but in some ways it kind of is, it's successive. And same with emotions, they will settle into those lower regions and they will settle through your gut. And one of the best examples is anxiety, right? Whenever you feel anxiety, I don't like that word, again, because we label it so much that people identify with it so much, which becomes detrimental. However, we all probably have heard of it by now or experienced it. Anxiety, nervousness, yeah, whatever you want to call it, you know, where do you feel it? You feel it in your gut, right? It might come as little butterflies, a little like a nauseous feeling or tension in your stomach or in your gut. And that is literally that feeling you're feeling because it's literally creating tension now in your physical vessel. It starts with getting this energetic, you know, your nervous system is signalizing whatever's making me feel anxious. And this anxiety is creating this stress response that is creating physical tension in your body, drawing the blood out of your digestive tract into your limbs so you can run or fight or freeze, right? And this physical tension will disrupt your gut. And as soon as your gut health, your digestion is disrupted, no matter what the reason is, like be that the process I just explained or through eating crappy food in the first place, toxins will start to accumulate in the gut. Those toxins will then leach into the blood and they are being pumped through your whole system with the blood. So instead of pumping around and absorbing nutrients, you are instead or also absorbing and pumping around toxins, and they then go directly into your brain through your nervous system, and they will impact your cognitive function, physical function. And again, remember, everything in life is an extension of our holistic well-being. Full circle. So you see, I hope, how gut health and mental health and emotional health and essentially all other issues are directly related. So this is why even if someone comes to me with liver cirrhosis, with depression, with anxiety, with adrenal fatigue, our approach will still be very, very similar as we're working from the ground up. We need to first start to pacify your nervous system, and we do that by making sure that your body's most basic and primal needs are being met through the right food at the right time for your specific constitution and dosha for the right reasons. Balancing your gut health will further relax, pacify the nervous system, balance the rest of your overall state of well-being as well. So I guess my point here is to just give you a little reminder that everything is interconnected, and your gut health, not just in a physical sense, is at the root of most dissonances and misaligned experiences and symptoms we can go through in life. So never rule out, you know, the connection of certain things, and don't get too rigidly steer-headed at, well, I got diagnosed with this one certain thing, so this is the one certain little thing I'm going to focus on and zero in on. It doesn't work like that. We are not made up of fully autonomic, isolated and separated little things. we're a whole system, like a synergetic, that's all working on synergy, our mind, our body, our emotions, all organ systems, all tissues, everything is working in synergy. So therefore, if you have an issue with your spine and with your bones, it also has to do with your gut. If you have reproductive and fertility issues, also has to do with your gut. If you have mental health issues, also has to do with your gut. If you can't get any further in your career or attracting the right people, same thing.